work not 60, but like 100 hours a week.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. What a gal.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. Yes, we're having a conversation about Love is Blind. I want to be very honest with you and very real with you. Ali is testing Anton. He does not know and he's failing. Yeah, I know you probably maybe don't realize this, but she's testing him. Those of you who know, you know. Comment down in the comment section. She's testing him. Why do I say she's testing him? Because it's not the first time she's made certain jokes about finances and about money, okay? And actually the whole conversation was part of the test. Now you're probably asking, what is she testing him on? She's testing him on his boundaries and his willingness to also object and say no to her requests. I don't remember her background, but she's very much given me somebody who's fearful avoidant. And I'll talk about attachment styles in a minute or two, but fearful avoidants tend to test people because they want to see how safe the environment is. Your boundaries are actually how they externalize their safety, because they've grown up in households where they felt unsafe. So they start testing people. This is not an all woman thing. Sometimes I listen to Red Pill and listen to manosphere stuff, and men will tell you, oh, all women test. Nope. There are certain types of women who test because they've been in certain environments and they're testing for safety and testing your mettle to see how strong you are, because they're looking for somebody stronger than them in order to start to be able to rest and be able to feel safe in. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that's not my problem. We're talking about the psychology of things that are happening here. So I believe that Ali is testing him. And some women do this, because again, one, for safety, but also two, to see if you're going to be honest and truthful. They're testing because this is how they've done things in the past in order for them to be able to operate within the space of a relationship. Now, this is not healthy, it's not helpful, and it does not promote a long-term relationships. It actually drives people away, because eventually people pick up that you are testing them, and eventually you get frustrated, the person who's testing them, because you're not going to get the answers that you actually want. Yeah, Anton failed here. Okay, and I'm going to break it down as to what happened here. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on that wonderful bell button for notifications of the uploads. And don't forget, press the hype button. You know what I mean? Hype me up. Hype me up. All right, let me behave myself. Let's get real and get into this truthfully, okay? Talking about Anton and Ali, let's have a little bit more of a look at this video, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this testing that's happening.
I'm about to be in school full-time, and like last time I was in school full-time, like I was living with my parents for like a big portion of it. My mom was taking care of the meals and cleaning and everything.
Now, let's pause it right here, okay? This story is on purpose, bro. That's why it's a story and not her saying it directly. She tells you a story to indirectly let you know what her actual wants and needs are, which tells us immediately that this is somebody who struggles to be able to be direct and assertive about what they actually want. Right? So that already tells me there's a bit of insecurity in that particular place, because she veils it in a story. She tells us, oh, you know, when I was in school previously, because eventually the conversation has prefaced with, if I'm cooking, you're cleaning. If you're cleaning, I'm cooking. This is what we call a partnership. But immediately she wants to say no to that, but she can't say no directly because she's afraid of the repercussions of what would happen if she says no. So then instead of saying no, she then tells a story. That's the passive aggressive way of doing things. I'm going to tell you a story, and the story is about how when I was in college or whatever I was in school, my mum would clean. Now, first and foremost, you're at your mum's yard, and you're being looked after by your parent who you are a dependent to. You are not a dependent to your partner. You may depend on them, but they're not your dependent. And so she tells a story and says, oh, when I was at school, I wasn't cleaning. It wasn't a priority for me to clean. It was about my schooling. Whilst I definitely hear you on that, you're no longer that kid anymore. You're an adult going to school, trying to get a better, whatever you're trying to get better, achievements and accolades, whatever you want to call it, to have a better life. Absolutely. But you are going to do something in this household. Just like if a man said the same thing, I'll be looking at him like he's crazy. It's a partnership we're looking for. But again, at the end of the day, every household is different. So you're actually entitled to say what you actually want. Just say it, instead of actually then trying to put a story across to make it passive aggressive. Just say you don't want to clean. But then she does say that by the end of the actual story, but she's cushioned it already. She wasn't direct. She could have just said it straight away, right? Just a bit more.
Literally, I was not doing like anything. Cleaning is not going to be like a priority for me.
Now, let's pause it right here, okay? Now, bar this not being one of those silly conversations that they've edited to make it look this way and on purposely done this to drive us nuts, and it was a joke thing they were having between themselves and we don't know. Let's take that out of the question. Let's just take this a very serious situation. See how she told a story by saying, oh, I did nothing at home, da, 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 da. And then she looks at him. At the end, she's now looking at him. Why is she looking at him? Because she now wants to see what's his reaction going to be. Okay. So when she says, oh, I did nothing, what's the natural response somebody should say? Oh, okay, I hear you. Okay, with how I want things to work in this household, first and foremost, thank you for telling me that. Right, I really appreciate you sharing your perspective of what you've been through and what you've previously experienced. How I want things in my household is that I'm looking for a partnership. I want someone I can partner with. Now, I really appreciate you're going to school and you are going to have a lot of focus on that. Me too. I'm going to work. When in this space, as I'm going to work, I also understand that part of a partnership, how I envision it. See, this Invisalign is going to give me how I envision it is that, you know, we'll be able to share duties within the household. And if I'm cooking, you're cleaning. If I'm cleaning, you're cooking. That's how I see things as a partnership. Now, we can reconfigure this and negotiate on some of those things. But I would say for now, this is how I envisage things to be. So I expect my partner to be able to help me in that space. So where can we meet in the middle to start, you know, negotiating, right? Because you're saying you didn't clean. I'm assuming you're saying you don't want to clean. So let me know a bit more. Are you saying you're not going to be cleaning? Is that what you're telling me? So that I don't jump to conclusions at a time, right? So the response is really important because you got to let the person know this is how I see things. And it's very hard to do that because naturally you start attacking the point and not recognizing there's something underneath the point. Now she's testing him because she wants to see how honest is he going to be. So what does he actually do? Let's see.
Why are you raising your eyebrow at me? Ideal scenario for me, I think I would want.
He raised his eyebrow. She said, why are you raising your eyebrow at me? So again, he doesn't say anything, but we can tell that his response is basically saying, what are you talking about? Bro, it's not going to happen. But instead of saying it, he's making a face, right? So now she's going to have to push a bit further because he's not communicating verbally. So let's see what happens.
To
Not work?
I wouldn't want to not work.
If you work 1 or 2 days a week, that should be fine.
Do you think you make enough to support both of us?
Yeah.
School's going to be expensive. And I can still get Botox.
Now, this Botox situation, I don't know, she just likes winding people up, but she's being serious. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So she dribbles down and saying, obviously, you know, school is very intense for me and I was, you know, I don't have to work. Do you not make enough for both of us? Which is, again, a very fair aspect, looking at her perspective. Does he make enough for both of them? If he does, fantastic. Cool. He can pay the bills, everything like that. But the bills wasn't really the conversation they were having about. They were having about work around the house. So sis, but then he also says, hey, you can work 1 day or 2 days a week. Is that what you want? If that's what you want, just say it. Hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, whilst I'm working, you can work. I would like for you to work 1 or 2 days a week. You know, keeps you active, keeps you fresh, but also at the same time gives you a bit of money for your account. And also because then it makes a household income also increase as well. You can have your own money, do what you want to do as well, right? So that's the real conversation, okay, underneath it all. So you see how she tested him and then she said obviously about the Botox situation. Oh, the Botox, and then made a little joke. The reason I'm saying is because she did the exact same thing previously about the 10K carat ring. Or $10,000 ring. She keeps testing him on the money's front. Right now, she may have a fear behind this, so she needs to be honest and open. I do have fear around finances. The way I look at things, I think she kind of mentioned it previously a little bit, but she keeps making these jokes, which are actually she's trying to find out information passive aggressively rather than just being open and honest and saying, "Hey, I want to know what your thoughts on this because I feel this way about it. You feel this way about it, so I know where you stand, and then I can feel safe and I can be open to be vulnerable." That's what she needs to say, but she hasn't said it yet. She's not saying it, and because she's not saying it, these jokes keep coming out.
I don't know about all that. We have to budget, obviously, a little bit.
A little bit.
So we talked.
Now he said about the budgeting. Okay, it's about the budgeting aspect of things, right? And then they had a conversation about the accounts. I actually agreed with her about the account situation. She needs to have her own account. The question is, what are you going to do with your money? We've had this conversation on YouTube. I've had it on TikTok. What are you doing with your money? You know, and I hear women say, obviously, you know, when someone will tell you their money's their money. If that's how your household works, cool. My household, that ain't it. Your money ain't your money. Your money is my money. And my money is my money. No, joking. Your money is not yours. It's ours. Take that Y off. Okay. All right. It's ours. My money isn't mine. It's ours. Right. It's a household pot. So whether your money is going towards savings or investment, it doesn't make no difference. It's still going towards a household. Like it's what people do is that it's the words. They get stuck on the words, right? So it's like, it's mine. No, it's ours. You can spend, yes, of course, you can have your own separate account to do what you want to do. I have my own separate account. I'm spending on what I need to spend it on. Yes, I can pay for the majority of the bills. Okay, cool. But the money that you have spare over, that can go towards savings, that can go towards investments, that can go towards holidays. That's not yours, that's ours. We're all enjoying that finances. So that's both people contributing towards that household. Now, going back to what they were saying, the account situation, I actually agreed with her, like I said. I actually hear what you're saying. Now, what was interesting is that in the midst of the conversation after that, it got a bit weird. At least what she was saying, it got a bit weird. Let's have a look.
So, like, how do you feel about going somewhere to get, like, sweaters engraved or, like, stamped or whatever?
Now, she laughed at this as she was looking at him as it's insane, but she was open to it. She said, I'm willing to do it, but once in a blue moon. Now, he's a bit of a, quote unquote, she calls him corny. And I always say this, listen, you got to be very careful. When people start calling you corny, that ain't always a compliment. Now, someone might say it as a compliment. I'll tell you the truth. When women start saying you're corny, you need to check that at the door. I'm just being honest with you. Like, when they start saying, oh, he's corny, and I like that, like, if they, no. You need to check that right there. Yeah, but I'm telling you, just trying to shoot, because it leads to the next thing, which is disrespect. Because whenever we talk, it's like, oh, my man's a nerd. These words are not necessarily, I would call, positive words. So when you're describing your partner that way, right, we're not getting a positive impressions. So if a woman comes out and said, oh, my man's corny, you know, now someone might come out and say, my man's corny and I love it, right? Now that's something different. The tone, the energy, that doesn't, that's not what she said. She said it's corny, and then she said to you about kind of corny. They said, okay, we can do this once once in a blue moon. That's basically her shutting you down. Right? That's why I said that disrespect can be following after that, because once contempt creeps in, disrespect normally kicks in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. on them.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
We can do that. Be corny.
Be super corny.
Not usually down for the corny stuff, but I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Something different.
Well, at least she said she was open and down for the fun. Do you know what I mean? But just be aware that, fam, you may not be able to be corny much around her. You may not be able to be your free self. I think that the key thing is this. I always say this as a man. You want to, and I said this about Jordan and Megan. You don't want to have to police yourself around your girl. What I'm saying that is that she can't dictate to me how I want to be free. Sometimes people dictate to you about your freedom because they don't feel free themselves. They themselves feel restricted, so they have to put an image on you. Megan did the exact same thing to Jordan, and I'll do a video about it in episode 7. The restriction of freedom. I want to be free and enjoy myself. Like, for instance, I dance in the gym. I'll shake my nyash, I'll bounce my chest. Yeah, that's what I do. Now, if you don't like that, I need you to leave me the heck alone, because I want to be free. You know what I'm saying to you? I want to be free. And so some people are not free with you. And the you is silent. I keep saying this for people. Like, a lot of times the you is silent. They don't want to be free with you. And so they're restricting your freedom. So sometimes you have to let people know, hey, this is a boundary. This is as far as you can go. I want to let you know, I appreciate the fact you have your opinions, and I appreciate you have your thoughts. I'm this kind of person. It's like someone saying, I think there were, who was this? Somebody was talking about Edmund, and AD. I hate the way she spoke about Edmund. Oh, do you like his flowery shirts? Shut the frick up. Like, why are we talking about his flowery shirts? Let the man have a flowery shirt. Let him be as he is to be. Why are we dictate? See, you start dictating what your man should be. You're not about to dictate to me. See, whenever you let a woman start dictating to you what you should be, I promise you, she will turn around and resent you in the end. Why? Because you've now become her toy boy, and now she controls you. And now she feels unsafe, because if you're controlling her, she thinks someone else can control you too. I have learned now not to allow that to happen to me. When I was a younger kid, that could happen to me. I was being molded and shaped, and I reckon that. And I had a lot of disputes like that. And then eventually I was like, wait, hold on. It's because I'm choosing people that are not accepting who I am. Stop choosing people that don't accept you for who you are, right? So just a little tidbit for their situation.
That'd be like a once in a blue moon thing, so do that.
Maybe like once in a lifetime, not even blue moon. I think one Mr. and Mrs. sweater is enough.
Right.
Yeah, she literally just buoyed you, bro. Like, once in a blue moon, bro. See, this is the kind of stuff I'm saying. Shut down. You need to shut it down, because she needs to accept you for who you are. You are a corny dude, apparently, to her. But for you, this is you being cute. And what's going to happen is she's going to destroy the safe space. As much as she's doing it today, tomorrow. And I remember I had a situation when I was younger. I told my partner, I said, like, yo, like, the way that you dealt with the situation, yeah, I don't like it. It's not respectful. The way you dealt with it. My freedom of expression, I want to be free. I want to do something. You can tell me that you don't like something, but it's a way you have to tell me. And you telling me once in a blue moon, That's kind of rude. It's kind of disrespectful. Imagine you tell a woman, listen, yeah, you want to do that thing I'm doing once in a blue moon. You'd be looked at like you're crazy. Like, why would you tell a woman that? Of course, the same thing. It's the way you say something. It's the way you approach certain things, right? Okay, so this sets them up to this thing.
Oh God.
I feel like you're being weird.
Why do you think I'm being weird?
I don't know. I just feel like you're being odd.
Explain.
I don't know.
I'm just tired.
She said it's being weird and being odd. I actually think that the reason why she thinks he's being odd and weird is because he's not telling the truth. He's not telling the truth about the fact that she just tested him, and the fact that she kept on saying about the job and the finances and everything like that, and not cleaning. And he didn't say anything. He didn't say like when anybody said I want to cook, you clean, and then she said obviously I don't feel like I want to cook or I don't want to clean when I'm in my college. We didn't hear a response from him, which lets us know that she probably feels like he's not being genuine, because she already knows that she's not being genuine, right? She's asking a question to get an answer. So if you're not being genuine with your answer and response, how can I trust you? You know, that means very soon betrayal is about to happen, because for fearful avoidance specifically, the biggest thing they're looking for is patterns of betrayal. And if you're not being truthful with them, then betrayal is around the corner. That's how they're looking at it. And I can understand that. So for Anton, how he failed the test, he wasn't honest. He did feel some way because his facial expressions told us he felt some type of way, right? He needs to be honest and direct and fair. He needs to seek to understand why she feels that way, but then let her know this is what I want from the situation too. We can negotiate by all means, but he has to let her know this is what she wants. Then she can trust his full judgment, because she knows that he's going to be honest and open with her specifically, okay, in that space. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. You click on that wonderful bell button. But don't forget to hype the video up. Okay, that hype button is a hype button now. Hype it up. Leave a comment down below. Do you agree with my synopsis, or do you disagree? How do you see things? Do you think she was testing them, or do you think she's just genuinely asking a question? Let me know down below in the description box. We'll see you again soon.
Little black book. You know what time it is.